Hello and welcome to Different Perspectives. I'm Paul Ndiho. Now, would like to take you to Malawi, where a critical election is unfolding today. It is a vote that many say is much more than just politics. It's about survival. Families there are grappling with impossible choices caught between soaring food prices and a devastating hunger crisis. To help us unpack what this moment feels like for most people there, we are going live to our correspondent, Lameck Masina, who is on the ground in the commercial city of Blantyre. Welcome to Different Perspectives.
Welcome, Paul.
You are in Blantyre, Malawi. What's the feeling like where you are? This is one of those moments where the future of the nation hangs in balance. Tell us what the voters are telling you.
To many Malawians, it's a very exciting day because today they have made their decision clear to choose who they wanted, who they want to lead them for the next 5 years. And to them, they say this year's election is unique in the sense that it's for the first time in Malawi for the two former presidents to come back into the system, to try to come back into the system and rule the game again. And it's like to Malawians, it's they call it's like a rematch. Because for example, one of the former presidents, Joyce Banda, ruled the country from 2012 to 2014. And then Peter Mutharika took it off from 2014 to 2019. And these two are also re-contesting again to come back into the system. So basically, this year's election is like a rematch of the presidents. So it's very exciting. And now the challenge is who to choose from these two, even from these three now, because even the current president, Lazarus Chakwera, he's fighting for continuation of another 5 term. Yeah, which is it's again to him. So there's a competition of three.
Mm.
Two
So,
already
even
tried. Two already tried and tested,
right.
and one tried worse. So it's like a tug of war who to choose. Okay, do we need to go back to the old system, or can we continue with this one? So that's where now the Malawians are at the
Mm.
moment.
But let me ask you, from talking to some of the voters, to some of the people who have been in those lines for a very long time, what excites them about this election? Is it that the fact that the three presidents are on the ballot, or is it because of the high fuel and food prices, the economic crisis, and other challenges that Malawi is facing?
Okay, today I was privileged to be at one of the polling stations, and I talked to many voters who have cast their vote there. And many of them say they were voting to change the government and to see if the one they have voted for will also live up to his or her promise. Let me remind you that they are not the only these three people like Joyce
There's
Banda,
17 of
Peter
them.
Mutharika. Yeah, there are 17. There are 17. So over 7.2 million voters are choosing from 17 presidential candidates. But the expectation is, will their choices live up to their wishes? Because at the moment, many of them say they are tired of the situation right now. For example, one of the worst situation scenario Malawians are facing is the fuel shortage. And today it was like what I can say a strange experience, because some people, like the motorists, drivers, would come from the queue of fuel, go to the queue of voters. So it was like a queue from the queue to another queue. So the queue of choice and the queue of stress. So I don't know what will become there now.
I like your analogy.
So
Lameck, beyond the long
yes,
lines that we are seeing, the what is the tangible mode and the feeling on the ground? Are these voters expressing hope or frustration, or is it a sense of the resignation as they cast their ballot?
it's mixed. It's mixed reaction, because some are expressing hope, but the hope mixed with despair or with hopelessness. Hope with hopelessness. What I mean here is the major contenders, the frontliners are two: Peter Mutharika and Lazarus Chakwera. Now, Peter Mutharika was voted out from the government in the 2020 elections. The reason, because of poor economic management. The economy was bad, too bad. And during that time, the voters were saying, whoever, sorry, the voters would say, whoever comes, we will accept, provided Peter Mutharika is out of the government. Okay, now, fortunately, Chakwera came with the hope and also promises of turning around the country's fortunes and economy. 5 years down the line now, later, nothing is tangible. The problems are triple, like the time we were with what? We were with the Peter Mutharika.
Mutarika.
Now the question is, yes, Peter Mutharika. Yeah. Now the question is, should Malawians, or what Malawians are asking, should we go back to the same problems which we it made us to put Chakwera out, Mutharika out of office, or should we continue with the same sufferings we are facing right now? So it's hope
So,
against hope.
wow. So, if I hear you correctly, you seem to suggest that the economic crisis is the overwhelming issue. But from the conversations you've had, the voters are blaming the current administration for these problems. Or do they see them as a larger global forces beyond anyone leader can control?
Exactly. The global problems are there, but some countries are doing better than us still, and they are still facing the same problems, but they are doing better than us. And also, President Lazarus Chakwera is not hiding words. He says, yes, Malawi is facing uh, problems because of the global issues which affected Malawi, like COVID-19, the war in Russia war, Ukraine-Russia war, and also, and there was also cholera in Malawi. Yes, he's admitting, but although he is admitting, uh, Malawians need solutions which are not there right now.
I've been
Yes,
following the news in Malawi. I've been looking at the polls. I've been talking to some people there. The race seemed to be centered around two people: the current president Lazarus Chakwera and the former president Peter Mutharika. But there are other candidates. You said there are 17 candidates vying for this position. For me, my other particular interest is the former president Joyce Banda. uh, the latest polls were also showing her to have made some significant gains here and there. Uh, could she be? Could she pull this thing off?
She could, but she can't because she tried and failed. Um, when Joyce Bernard ruled the country in 2014, this is the time when the country's biggest scandal was unveiled, the Cashgate scandal. The Cashgate scandal, where millions of dollars were siphoned from government coffers, yeah, but by cabinet ministers, in fact. Some were arrested. So, and that scandal is one of the scandals which made her fail to win again the elections in 2014. So, this time around, I don't know if she can turn the tables around, but most Malawians feel she failed us before.
About logistically, how was the voting process itself? Were there any major issues at the polling station with the polling itself? What can you tell us since you're on the ground?
Yeah, I think the polling, according to polling staff I talked to at the polling station, said the polling was smooth, peaceful, but one of the setbacks was they are using machines in verification of voters. So some of them are not functioning. For example, at the station where I was, at Goliath Trading Center, where former President Peter Mutharika went and voted. One of the polling staff there told me that out of nine the biometrical machines, only four were working. So after they complained to the officials, they were advised to use the manual, physical, the papers, through the papers. So that was the challenge. So because that challenge was slowing down the process.
Lameck, earlier I was talking to somebody and she said that this is a rematch many years in the making. Voters that you spoke to are looking at it from the perspective of both records, are looking at Chakwera's record and Mutarika's record. And even Joyce Banda in this case, are they purely focused on that, or they're looking at the hardship because they can't afford to buy bread, they can't afford to? Before we were talking, you said you had a blackout for a whole day. That's one of those issues that a lot of people are concerned about. How are these issues playing into this whole election?
The answer to that one is this year's election. This election is nothing to do with the personalities. It's about issues. Yeah, because people are complaining about their livelihoods, the economic situation of the country, their survival. So whether it will be Joyce Banda, Peter Mutharika, Dalitso Kabambe of UTM, Lazarus Chakwera, there's somebody, Swila, there are 17 of them. It doesn't matter. What people are looking for is whoever wants to govern the country, will he really manage to turn the tables around? And that's where comparison now is coming. We tried Joyce Banda, he failed. We tried Peter Mutharika, he failed. We had hope, great hope in Chakwera, now all disappointments. So what can we do? Who can we choose to lead us? So it's the question of whoever comes, if he really can change the economic fortunes of the country, he will be accepted. But do we think there is one? That's the question. And who is he or she? And that's where the game is.
One thing I find interesting about Malawi, almost all the other presidents who have come into power in the last, let's say, 15 years, their governments have been accused of corruption. Is this something that is weighing heavily on people's minds as they voted for a new president today?
Exactly. The corruption is the major issue here. And I think it's a disease which cannot be healed. Because the president who tried his best to kill corruption was Lazarus Chakwera. He employed we can say the Iron Lady in fighting corruption, Martha Chizuma. She tried from the beginning, but uh, Joyce Banda once said, uh, "No one can fight corruption because it also fights back." Okay, when you are fighting corruption, corruption also fight back, and that was confirmed when Chakwera was appointed what we call the Iron Lady in in fighting corruption. Because what happened to Martha Chizuma is when she was at her peak of fighting corruption, even arresting them, herself was in the middle of night arrested
Cash game.
by the police on on allegation, no, on allegations of maybe trying to injure someone in the government.
Mm.
So when such things were investigated, it thought but that it was one of the ways of silencing her, not to go ahead in doing what she was doing. From there, she was like silenced until she I think she did not renew her contract. Now she's working somewhere, I think in the United States.
The other thing that I've also observed over the years covering Malawi, and I've been there several times. The one thing that I've also noticed is that uh, there seems to be this level of like revenge. Everybody who comes in wants to revenge uh, or do something bad to their predecessor. Uh, how can a country move forward when when every leader who comes in wants to do exactly the same thing that the other person did to his predecessor?
This is not only the Malawi problem. It's an what I can say is an African leadership problem. It's a question of one can be in power this time, and the predecessor and the successor will try to revenge. So it's something I don't know which I know which it cannot take us anywhere, and that's a problem. Really, that's a problem, and that's worrying. That's really what happens. But it's a bigger issue. It's not only for Malawi. It's many countries, and you understand what has happened. What happened recently in Zambia, in our neighboring country in Zambia. Yeah. So it's all over. It's all over. But it's concerning. It's concerning, really.
What are you as a journalist looking out for, considering that the polls have happened, the vote counting is underway? It's almost impossible out of 17 candidates to win it in the first round. So, what are some of those things that you are focused on as a journalist?
The outcome, who will win the polls, and if it will be the one-time win, because at the moment, uh, someone who to win the polls here in Malawi, we are following what is called 50+1, which means the winner should get 50% from one vote, or 50% and above votes. So now the contest is 50-50. And another problem is, unlike last time when in 2020, when there was there was Chakwera and Peter Mutharika, that time the Chakwera party had some small parties formed an alliance known as Tonse Alliance, which included the one major bigger party, the United Transformation Party of Vice President Saulos Chilima.
Yeah.
That coalition, that alliance, gave assurance that they will definitely win because Peter Mutharika had only one alliance partner, the United Democratic Front, which was led by Atubele Munuzi. Yeah, sure. So it was obvious that come rain sunshine, the Dose alliance of Lazarus Chakwera and Saulos Chilima would win. This time around, no alliances. That's the challenge. No alliances. Each party is going it alone, which means it will be very difficult to achieve the 50+1%, and the runoff are likely to happen because we don't know if the 50+1 percent will be achieved easily without partnering with any party. No way, because even these smaller parties have also divided the votes. Yeah, each one has taken its portion. But if they maybe tried to come together and unite and join one party, it would be an outright win for that particular part. But now, so we are anticipating the runoff because even okay, I have even the yeah, even the identity, the cards which were as journalists who have been given from Malawi Electoral Commission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The accreditation cards. The deadline, no, the expiry date is December. Why December? Because according to the law, if there are runoff, they should be done after 2 months up to November. So which means they have that in mind, even the Electoral Commission people have that in mind, that maybe by December, these guys will be what will also be needed. So there's no need to be doing other accreditation for them. Let's just go straight forward to December. So that's the issue there.
Interesting. When do we expect the results to be announced? At least the partial initial results be announced.
I think from tomorrow. From tomorrow morning. I think we will have a picture. We'll just have a picture of who is leading in the regions, in particular places, not countrywide. But maybe after a day or two, that when we will have some partial results from also radio stations, not from Malawi Electoral Commission, because Malawi Electoral Commission, according to the law, is that they have to announce the results within 8 days. So within 8 days, they will have the official results. So, but partially, it will have results from social media, from the radio stations, TV stations. Yeah, that's it.
Well, Lameck Masina, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Would like to know what you think about the Southern African nation of Malawi heading to the polls today. Share your thoughts and tell us what you think the next president should do to tackle the economic crisis. And of course, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to Paul Ndiho on Substack, X, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, YouTube, and Spotify.